So there's been a lot of rumors revolving around a potential PS5 Pro later this generation and even a PS5 Slim. I'll be going over some of the rumors and leaks that have come out about both of these consoles in this video and whether or not I think that these rumors hold any water. Let's get right into it. Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming, who has honestly been pretty reliable so far in this generation, first reported in March that a PS5 Pro was in development at Sony and could be released around late 2024. Just a couple months ago, back in May, Tom Henderson later revisited this rumor and stated that he's 100% certain that a PS5 Pro is in development. Unfortunately, there are no further details, but he does say that first-party developers will be getting the dev kits in a couple of months, and that third-party publishers will be getting them by the end of the year. I know a lot of you guys may not be putting a lot of stock on this rumor as it isn't coming from a quote-unquote official source, but just letting you know that Tom Henderson was the first to accurately report on the Q Lite, which is Sony's new handheld, and their new wireless earbuds. And as we know, both of these devices were recently revealed during Sony's last showcase, so clearly Tom Henderson does have some pretty good sources over there at PlayStation. Now of course this rumor alone does not guarantee that a PS5 Pro is coming, but based on Tom's track record, I personally would say that there's a pretty good chance it is. Moving on, another piece of evidence about a potential PS5 Pro was what the CEO of Take-Two Interactive, Strauss Zelnick, said during an interview with GamesIndustry.biz. Even though the interview is mostly about Take-Two's fourth quarter financials, the interviewer asked Strauss if he expects to see iterative hardware like the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X during this generation, and how it will affect Take-Two's business. He replied to this saying, "We probably will, and that the previous Pro consoles last generation did not affect business very much." Now you would assume that the CEO of one of the biggest third-party gaming publishers would have an idea on whether or not there will be mid-gen refreshes later this generation, because you would expect games like GTA 6 and 2K to take advantage of these consoles. Okay, maybe not 2K, but the point still stands. I also believe it's important to point out that recently we've had Phil Spencer come out and say that, in regards to a Pro version of the Series X, that's not the feedback we're getting right now. Right now we're pretty set on the hardware we have. This means that as of right now, Xbox has no plans to have a mid-gen refresh and will stick with the Series X and S for the rest of the generation. Seeing how they have been slowly moving away from console and focusing more on PC, cloud, and mobile, I guess this does make sense. Obviously, plans could change for Xbox, but it would be very interesting to see what would happen if the PS5 gets a mid-gen refresh while the Series X won't. Now let's move on to the PS5 Slim, which I believe has much more substantial evidence behind it. Rumors of the PS5 Slim, also known as the detachable disc PS5, first came from, once again, Tom Henderson back in September of last year. According to his initial article, the disk drive will be sold separately and can be attached to the console through an extra USB-C port on the back of the PS5. The hardware is reportedly the same as what we have right now, but I assume that the console itself will look much more different to our current PS5s. It also says that unlike the PS4 Slim, which was sold alongside the original PS4, the new detachable disc PS5 will eventually replace the current disc and digital versions we have now. From a business perspective, this is a great move by PlayStation to push more people towards a digital ecosystem for their games. Although the option is there to buy the disc drive accessory, the fact that it comes separate with the PS5 will lead a lot of people to either A, forget about it, or B, just not bother buying it. Another piece of evidence towards the PS5 Slim actually comes from Microsoft during the hearing against the FTC. In their documents, they report, quote, PlayStation likewise sells a less expensive digital edition for $399 and is expected to release a PS5 Slim later this year at the same reduced price point. So if the new model is coming in at $400, this means that the detachable disc drive will probably be $100 or so to match the price of the disc PS5, which would make a lot of sense. Now that we have an idea about these two consoles, let's quickly touch upon if we actually need them in the first place. When the PS5 was first announced, there were a lot of people complaining about how big the console was and how heavy it is. There were also many people who weren't fans about how the console physically looks, so I do think that the PS5 Slim with the redesign is a good idea. With the PS5 Pro though, I just don't think that it's necessary. It really does feel like this year in 2023 was the first year where we've pretty much left the last generation behind, aside from a couple games here and there, and focused on the new generation. Even when looking at the PS5 itself, the only exclusives we've had is Demon's Souls Remake, Returnal, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which is nearly not enough to warrant a whole new refresh. It really doesn't feel like we've hit the peak of what the PS5 and Series X has to offer, and I believe that this won't truly be realized until a couple more years. On the other hand, however, we've seen plenty of games such as Starfield and Gotham Knights which are 30 FPS even on next-gen consoles. We've also seen games that have come out recently like Jedi Survivor and Final Fantasy 16 that have choppy frame rates and not the best performance. So based on this, I guess there is some incentive for a pro console. But then again, we don't know if these frame rate caps and poor performance is based on the lack of power for these current consoles or if they were just optimization problems during development. At the end of the day, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. That's pretty much it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Comment down below your thoughts on the PS5 Pro and the Slim and whether or not you think that they are necessary. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good one.